Happy Wednesday! Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod. I am the Prop Queen Ariel Epstein. So glad I finally made it. Shout out, by the way, in case you can't see my shirt all the way for the entire stream, but to my guys at Legacy, the best shirt ever. I'm wearing G. I felt like getting lucky today. You guys should definitely go check it out. I will tell you guys the exact, it's on my Instagram story for Ari Epst on Instagram. So go give me a follow. I reshared it. So Legacy is a brand that does really cool Yankees merch, and I forget if they do others, but they've got new Yankees stuff out. So definitely go check it out. It's all classics. Like, come on. This is a classic shirt. So yeah, shout out to my friends at Legacy. I've got a great show today. So I know that our very loyal listener, Sean Michael, is always asking for guests. Honestly, Sean, I should hire you to be our guest booker because you ask and I deliver. So today we're going to have ESPN's Pam Maldonado on the show to talk all things U.S. Open, which starts this week. And also Tom Vecchio from Sports Grid going to break down Major League Baseball and the NBA Finals card. Got a lot to talk about today. We had a lot of day baseball as well going on today. In the PropQueen.com newsletter, I did give out a few early props. To be honest, I haven't even checked on them yet because I've been hanging out with Marley and making sure she's tired before the show. I have a feeling she is still going to cry, so that's not fun. But some strikeout props that I said for today, Brian Wu under 4.5 strikeouts was in the newsletter, and Justin Robleski also in the premium newsletter today. Let's check in on these live because I'm in an angry mood, and I'll tell you guys why in a second. You might have seen it on social media as to why I'm in a bad mood, but people make me angry on social media. Ooh, sorry, ESPN, I don't want to hear your video. Brian Wu is at 3 strikeouts through 5 1/3, and I'm right in the under right now, so we'll see if that stays true to form. Arizona's up 4-2. He's at 72 pitches, Wu. Woo, woo. And then I also gave out the Dodgers. Oh, did he not start for the Dodgers? That's interesting. Is that okay, so the Dodgers made a pitching change, so that won't count. That's how much I know. So yes, so under on Wu, we're still riding it under 4.5 Ks. He's at 3 right now through 72 pitches. So we'll definitely keep that one to look out for. I do want to retweet that the show is live because again, for whatever reason, sometimes Twitter doesn't tell everybody like, oh, we are live right now. I guess I'll tweet that out in a second once our guests come on because the OGs should be the ones to hear me go on this freaking rant about this freaking loser on TikTok, which if you don't follow me, you can follow me at the Prop Queen on TikTok. Okay. So I was really pissed off last night because one of my L's was Max Fried did not go over his 4.5 strikeout prop. He had 4 strikeouts through 7 innings against the Royals. This is a team that's averaging just over 5 strikeouts a game. Fried had like 7 strikeouts in his first matchup against the Royals this year, and Fried's gone over 4.5 Ks in 6 of 7 matchups against high K rate teams. A lot of the times, lefties, you can get these advantages on splits with lefty-righty splits. And this loser on TikTok decided to come at me by saying the Royals don't strike out that much and Max Fried ain't a strikeout pitcher. Should have been 2 signs to not bet a strikeout today, but learning experience. Learning experience? Dude, I've been betting strikeout props for like 10 years. Shut up. This guy has no idea lefty-righty splits. Yes, the Royals don't strike out a lot against righties. Against lefties, they're averaging 2 more strikeouts a game, which is why you are seeing in the market, sometimes lefties against the Royals, you can find an edge, which you did find the first time that Max Fried pitched against the freaking Royals with 7. So I end up, of course, I bite back, and then he's like, how many strikeouts does Fried average a game in his career against teams who average less than 6 strikeouts a game? Honey, and boo-boo. Honey Boo Boo. This guy's calling me Honey Boo Boo. First of all, BDC3. That tells me that you're trying to tell me something in your little 3-letter acronym that's probably false because you probably have a Napoleon complex. You're also probably ugly because you don't even have a picture on your TikTok. So nonetheless, you have to call me Honey and Boo Boo to try to put me down. Buddy, please, you're the one on my TikTok. I was not scrolling upon yours. And second of all, if there is one market in all of sports that you cannot come at me at, it is the strikeout prop market because it is the one market that I look at every single day for the last 5 years on this strikeout prop spreadsheet. So no, we have to stop calling people honey and boo-boo. Don't put me down. Like, it's enough. You're an idiot, bro. Like, you literally don't even know me. You don't even really follow me on anything else. You have no clue how good I've been at strikeout props in my career. But you're going to sit here and tell me that I don't know anything about strikeout props? Get the hell out of my face. So anyway, I'm really pissed off because it's him, and then some other dude came at me and was like, what's the average for lefties against pitcher lineups this year? Like, the Royals are on average par right now with lefties. And they're going strikeout per game. Like, that's what they keep using at me, is strikeouts per game. And I don't go strikeouts per game. I don't look at lineup strikeouts per game. I look at lineup strikeouts per starting pitcher, which is a big difference because let's say, for example, usually you'll get a pitcher who maybe early on gets a bunch of ground outs, and then as time goes on, he gets better and better, and he ends up striking out batters more in like the third, fourth, fifth inning. That does happen. Like Max Fried, even yesterday, he barely had strikeouts early on, and then you saw like 3 strikeouts in a row. He ends up with 4 and just goes under. Like, dude, this isn't a loser if he gets 1 more strikeout. He went 7 1/3 innings, Max Fried. He pitched amazing yesterday, and I am still pissed off because he didn't get over 4.5. Usually Max Fried is a 5.5 strikeout prop. Getting Max Fried at 4.5 felt like a really good number. You know that good gamblers bet good numbers. And yesterday, we had a good number on Max Fried. So this loser on TikTok can kiss my ass. Like, screw him. And screw any of these trolls who try to come at me because they have no picture. At least put a picture to your name. I respect you more if you put a freaking picture next to your name on social media to show that you're ugly. Like, at least admit that you're ugly. Like, I admit to my losses. Like, okay, I admit to losses on social media every day. I tell you if I win. I tell you if I lose. I tell you why I like my bets. I don't tell you, I've got a 5% play and come and get my picks. I tell you, hey, here's the information. If you like it, bet it. If you don't, great. This is meant for information. And I also like to do a little entertainment. So for this loser to go on my TikTok and tell me, honey boo boo, it's a learning experience, you can literally kiss my ass. Take a breath, boo-boo. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you. Anyway, we will go through what happened yesterday. So Mick Abel did go under his 4.5K prop with 3 strikeouts in 4 innings against the Cubs. Remember, for people who actually care to listen about like strikeout props and the knowledge that I have with it, the Chicago Cubs are an under or nothing team. The Cubs are not striking out a lot this year. Tyler Mahle also went under his 4.5K prop. Same for the Twins. Under or nothing this year for righties against the Twins. They are barely striking out against right-handers. I think we've had enough of Max Fried. Padres starter Dylan Cease. Last year, he never went over 6.5 against the Dodgers. He had 11 in 7 innings against LA yesterday. So kudos to Dylan Cease. He had like 6.5, 4, and 1 last year. So again, kudos to Dylan Cease. He did something he didn't do all last season against a very low K rate team. And Logan Evans, this dude got destroyed yesterday. And yet he still went over his 3.5K prop. He had 5 strikeouts in 5 innings against the Diamondbacks, who are also a low K rate team. But the D-backs, they honestly have been a little hard to read this year. Same with the Philadelphia Phillies. But Logan Evans, I'm a little shocked that he ended up going under his K prop, but it's fine. We'll bounce back today. I'm not going to be upset about that because I'm just upset about these freaking losers on the internet. But I appreciate all of you that are here with me today on the show and trying to get some winners because you guys are the smart ones with high IQs who know how to listen to good information and use it to your advantage, which is why I love to bring on really smart guests. And today I am bringing on a very smart guest because only very smart guests get to come on the show every single week. Let's give it up for Sports Grids on Tom Vecchio. What's up, Tom?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, that was quite a monologue, and it's well-deserved because everyone's wrong. If you think you're going to be right 100% of the time, let me know what you're doing because we could all be retired at that point if you're going to be right about every single play. So
I just get annoyed when people come on and try to tell you, try to teach you a lesson. I
mean, that's insane. Because ultimately, if you, or I don't mean you, but the proverbial you, if people out there, the you, if they're doing it better, go for it. Start showing your plays, start doing shows, whatever it might be, and then you'll become massively popular, and then we won't have to have this conversation because you'll have proved it.
Right, and this guy doesn't even have a freaking picture next to his name. Like, he lives in mom's basement. He's ugly and he has no life except to troll people on TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's part of it. I mean,
like, come on, Tom. Would you ever have the audacity to go on social media and call someone honey or boo-boo?
I mean, absolutely not. But obviously, I'm talking about it from the same, like, a perspective of, like, I've been doing this since 2016, so I'm on this side of the fence with you.
Honey Boo Boo. That one really pissed me off. Okay, we're going to call Honey Boo Boo on everybody who we do props for today. No, I'm just kidding. We will not do that. Let's start with some Major League Base. Actually, we could start NBA first. I talked a little bit already. Tyrese Halliburton. So I was giving you a little crap for this earlier, but it's not your fault. Every NBA guest we have had on the show this week has given out Tyrese Halliburton over 4.5 first quarter points. Why do you also like it?
I mean, this comes down to what I would say was just like an abject failure from Halliburton in game 2, and seeing the box score is obviously very misleading. And these are one of the things that we get into these, like, people get into debates. It's like, oh, just looking at the box score, you got to watch the game. You're not getting enough from the box score. When, seeing 17 points from Halliburton, you're like, okay, he put up some points. They scored. They lost the game, but like 12 of those points came in the fourth quarter when the game was already wrapped up, essentially. Going into the fourth quarter as your star player with 5 points is horrible. It is just like, that is an unacceptable performance from Halliburton in the finals. Like, that is what you see at the beginning of November or December from a game from Halliburton or any star player. It happens. Okay, bad games happen. Not in the finals. So when we see him go 1 of 4, 0 of 1, 1 of 2 in the first 3 quarters, wrong. Just an absolute failure from the Pacers part of things, not getting him the ball, him not being aggressive. He needs to take the ball and be like, hey, this is my team. We need to run things a certain way. I need the ball in my hands. I got to be more aggressive. So if he comes out and he's sitting at 6 points at halftime, that's a problem, because that probably means that the Thunder are in a spot to cover. So he has to be aggressive early. I like the fact that we're getting plus money with it. I would not be laying juice with Halliburton on first quarter prop, but he's got to come out strong. The Pacers have to keep this within arm's reach. If they're down by 8 or 10 at halftime, I don't see them covering.
The Pacers are 5-point dogs right now.
Yeah.
But I know Halliburton has that leg injury, which I saw Dr. David Chow posting that there's a chance it's like Achilles tendonitis. How concerned are you for Halliburton making it through the entire game?
I'm not really concerned. They probably injected with something. Like, he probably got some type of numbing or whatever. They probably gave him some Toradol, and he should be good to go.
Overall thoughts on the game for the Pacers and the
Pacers have to be in it early, or they won't be in it at all. Again, they got to be within arm's reach, 4, 5, 6 points at halftime. If that's more, 8, 10, 12 points, this game's going to end up the same way game 2, and the Thunder will win by 12, 16, whatever it might be.
How much have you tried to take advantage of any of the live betting opportunities during the finals now that we're down to just one game?
None. When I don't just bet things live. Like, as I've said before, like, I am looking for very, very specific things. So theoretically, if I were to be looking at something, when did I say it was in game 1, where it's like, I was looking for the Pacers at a certain point to be like, let me get not the Pacers. Let me get the Thunder. If the Pacers jumped out to them, let me get the Thunder at -3 or -4. And that didn't happen until very, very late in the game, because they were out ahead until the end, when obviously Halliburton hit that shot. So I don't just bet live things. I'm looking for something very specific. And tonight, I guess that would be -1 on the Thunder. Like, if the Pacers are keeping this live, as I anticipate, or at least hope they do, I would take the Thunder -1. If it doesn't get there, I won't bet anything live.
One thing I was looking at, speaking of star players, would be SGA under. I don't like SGA on the road. I don't like that the book, and from someone that worked with FanDuel Sportsbook, the book didn't adjust his number home road, and he averages less points per game on the road. So you're still getting a 33.5, which was his max all playoffs, on the road. And I just feel like, from a numbers perspective, it's too high.
It is. It's high. It's also, the total has dropped down to, what is it, 227 now, 227.5. So the total has dropped. And if we're going to continue to see tighter defense, and there's just going to be fewer scoring opportunities overall, again, we're asking SGA to have a larger and larger portion of the Thunder overall team. Just like, hey, their team props at what, I don't know what is off the top of my head, 216, whatever it is, 214, you're actually going to have a higher and higher percentage as the team total drops, which is certainly possible. You could certainly do so, but that's just not something I would play. So under 33, under 34.5, wherever it ends up, I think that's the right side to be on.
Then you also in Major League Baseball, which Jessica Brand, she on the PropQueen.com newsletter gave out Littell prop as well, under 4.5 strikeouts. Why?
So Littell is, if I'm being honest, like he's just a run-of-the-mill fourth guy in the rotation type of pitcher, and some of his recent results don't necessarily reflect that. And when we're seeing a complete game, he has 6 strikeouts, and he has another game with 6 strikeouts, and I'm like, okay, that's good. He has a 16.3% strikeout rate this season. Meanwhile, the league average is at 22%. He is a below-average strikeout pitcher. That's an absolute fact. Now, when it comes to the Red Sox, this is actually technically a plus matchup for them. They have the third highest strikeout rate versus righties, sitting at 23.7%. However, despite swinging and missing a lot of times, they're also top 10 in the league in WOBA versus righties and ISO versus righties. So, yeah, they swing and miss, but they also have a lot of power potential in their lineup. So there's a chance that Littell will fall right at that 4 number. I think if I win this, it will be by the hook. It's not like I'm anticipating him having 7 or 8 strikeouts. Like if he goes over, it's going to be by 5, maybe 6. Because if he does not get swings and misses early, the offense will get moving, and they're just going to get runners on base, and then he'll simply be pulled. I will say he is very good when it comes to not walking hitters. So if he gets beat, it's because it's going to be single, double, rather than, oh, he's letting too many on base for free and his pitch count gets driven up. I think he ends with 4 3-earned runs over 5-6 innings.
Yeah, I can't get a read on the Red Sox. They've been really tough for me from a righty's perspective. I like some days I'm like looking just back. Vecchio had 9 yesterday against Boston. Shane Baz had 5, but then Jose Soriano had 3. Bryce Elder had 4. I mean, like they are just all over the map as to like this 4.5, 5.5 number. I feel like the Red Sox should be striking out more. In some games, they just don't.
They don't. I would, like, if I really wanted to dig into things, I would want to look at their lineup in the sample size since Bregman went on the IL, which obviously would impact things. Obviously, they're just changing things around. Obviously, with Mayer being called up, and Roman Anthony's only been up for 2 games, so it's not like we're dealing with a massive sample size. But I would want to look at them like prior
to the Red Sox. You would think, right? I mean, not to knock like the Littell under 4.5 case, but like you would think now that they brought 2 guys up from the minors that maybe there would be more strikeouts.
It depends. Like it's still like Littell is a 16% strikeout pitcher, right? His strikeout rate is whatever it is, 6% below the league average. He's just not a big strikeout pitcher. So it is technically a plus matchup, but this is something you would want to see with a strikeout, rate from a pitcher that's at like 25%. Then he could really push to 7-8 strikeouts and really dominate a shorthanded lineup and a very young lineup at a certain point. But Littell is just not that type of pitcher. Listen, if he goes over, it might be, but I think under is on the right side. I think he ends at 4 tonight. It's not going to be easy, but that's the side I'm going to be on.
Jessica Brand agrees with you, our sports betting researcher. I know that people here in the chat are disappointed that there's not a hit parlay.
One came through earlier today, Schwarber and Vladdy. I posted it on, this morning before the Phillies game started at 1. I posted it at like 11 or so. It's always out there. Vladdy had a hit at his first at bat. I think it was the first pitch, and then Schwarber had a home run in his second at bat, walked the first time. Nice and simple, get a little bit of plus money. Roll into tonight, and then we got some day games tomorrow.
So did you have any hit props tonight or no?
Nothing for tonight. Okay. NBA tonight. I was on the Mariners' first 5, which thankfully cashed. Brian Woodgey gave up a grand slam on the bottom.
Oh, that's what happened. I was wondering how he was still in the game, but then I saw he was only at I'm on his under Ks, and it was under 4.5. He was at 3, which is 72 pitches through, I think, like 5 innings. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, but he's getting kind of crushed.
Yeah, it was I forget who it was. It might have been, I don't know, was it Naylor again? But or Suarez. It was Suarez for the Diamondbacks. So
Jessica has right here 5.35 Ks per start by a starting pitcher since Bregman went on the IL.
Okay. I mean, like the sample size is important, right? And certain players and just what they do with teams do with their lineup overall is going to be important, because obviously it's going to be a bench player stepping into a starting role. And then obviously they call up 2 young players, and that changes things of how the lineup is constructed. And obviously it's always going to be Duran and Devers 1-2, but K's can come easy, and then if they get those extra bats, like knock a pitcher out, he may not have the ability to get to the higher strikeout players that are lower in the lineup just because things change.
We cashed a winner, though.
That's good.
Finished with 3, so we both are 2-0 in that Mariners game.
Hopefully these guys on TikTok congratulate you now, which we know will never happen.
They're not watching.
No, I'm saying is like they're here for the losses, but they'll never be here for the wins.
Never. And they're headliners. They love like the headline of TikTok, and then they like move on to the next victim. Like this, whatever. I usually don't look at the TikTok comments. I really don't. But the strikeout props really like strike a chord with me. Like you can't mess with me on the freaking strikeout props.
I mean, you got to have the thing that you're willing to defend on.
That's it. Like you could fight me on anything else, but it's fine. We've got hockey tomorrow, and people definitely can't fight me on hockey. I mean, you can fight me all you want on hockey. I don't know anything about hockey. We've got the Stanley Cup Finals coming back tomorrow. We've got Florida up 2-1 in the series. How are you looking at Game 3 or Game 4?
So we're Game 4. A part of me wants to take 2 different plays for Sergei Bobrovsky, the Florida Panthers goalie. I like him over 26.5 saves. I'm debating first period saves for him. I think the Oilers have to come out with some urgency. When you look at Bobrovsky's saves for the entire series, we're seeing multiple games, obviously up at 40. The first 2 games of the series went to overtime and then double overtime. And we have to remember on FanDuel, at least, these are 60-minute save props. So they have to happen in regulation. Obviously, he could have 60, 70, 80 saves as we've seen in the playoffs. They go to 3, 4 overtimes. So over 26.5 saves is where I'm leaning right now. I haven't pulled the trigger. Maybe I have to wait till tomorrow for things to move. But the Oilers have to come out with pressure. It has to be consistent throughout if they want any shot. Also, the Oilers have to stop taking penalties. And then if they're obviously not in the penalty kill as much, they'll have more chances just on even strength to get more shots on goal.
Sean Michael asked, is it do or die for McDavid if they go down 3-1? It's GG's.
If they go down 3-1, I think they would win back at home. Like I do have a position on the Oilers to win 4-3 and 4-2, which, I'm waiting to be able to hedge out at a certain point if need be. I also have a position on Bobrovsky to win the Conn Smythe, which I don't think will happen at this point with Sam Bennett and Brad Marchand playing so well. But if the Oilers lose tomorrow, I think they would win at home, and then having to win at Game 6 on the road would be almost impossible for them.
Walter Barker says Pickard might be night for the Oilers.
I assume you are saying that Stuart Skinner won't be starting. That would be interesting, having a change in goal and Stuart Skinner not starting for Oilers. Obviously, he came in the other night, so yeah. I mean, if that would be an interesting way to go. Like seeing a goalie change in the Stanley Cup is never a comforting thing.
If it's for McDavid Conn Smythe, I think he still has a huge chance to win it, even if they lose.
See, that happened last year, and that was one of my reasonings coming in of why I liked Bobrovsky. I have Bobrovsky at plus 350. Bobrovsky could have won it last year. McDavid was unbelievable last year, but I took the position on Bobrovsky. I was like, listen, if the Panthers win it, they're going to give it to Bobrovsky. They're not going to give it to McDavid a second year in a row. They'll just simply give it to Bobrovsky if things are close. But obviously with Sam Bennett and Marchand playing so well, there's a reason to give it to one of those two ahead of Bobrovsky. If the Panthers win it, it is not going to McDavid this year.
And I know we asked this to Troy Perlowitz from NHL.com, but Mark has been asking about McDavid needing the 9 points to beat Gretzky's record. Do you think it happens? I know it was a bet that people can make.
Honestly, if you like that, you should be playing some type of series price on the Oilers to get to 7 games or win something like that, because I know there was what is it? McDavid, will he have the goalie, what is it, 610? I guess that's 610 for that. You would have to look at the odds for them to win 4-3 and see what has the better odds. But the only way it happens is if it goes to 7 games. So you would have multiple positions across the board. At least I would, because I wouldn't be banking on just McDavid. I would think, okay, if he does that, that means they're forcing a Game 6 and Game 7. Thus, I would be in a position to cash multiple bets, not just one.
I love that Sean Michael brought this up. Why do we reward players for losing? No other sport does that. I agree, actually. And I understand, Tom, that you could have players on the losing team that played amazing, but the MVP should be going to a player on the winning team.
Well, it's different in hockey. It's not a finals award. It's a playoff award. It's not a Stanley Cup Finals award. It's a entire playoffs. So,
but you lost.
Yeah, but if everyone
you're the most valuable player of the losing team.
But that's the name of the award. Like if the Panthers had all these players and they all scored, 5 goals throughout the playoffs, right? And they had like 6 players that all scored 5 goals, and then you had McDavid that scored 15. He is objectively more important than they just have a bunch of, like, the Florida Panthers. That's what they're so good at, is they have this awesome depth and anyone can score, right? So it's just like they have all these players that are picking up points, but sometimes no one player stands out outside of this year with Sam Bennett, who's been absolutely unbelievable, especially on the road. But when we saw last year from McDavid, if he leads everyone in points, and that's what the writers are willing to go to it, that Mikko should, like, listen, if Mikko Rantanen absolutely would have been in the Conn Smythe conversation. But again, they didn't get that far. You could have told me
but
Mikko could have won
the same argument. They didn't get that far. The same thing for the losing team in the Stanley Cup Finals. You didn't get that far. You didn't hold the trophy.
Take it up with the writers. Don't take it up with me.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. We're rewarding a loser.
Yeah, but then you could say the same thing about any award. Like, Ohtani's going to win MVP this year.
No, that's regular season.
But hear me out. He's going to win MVP, right?
Yeah.
He's objectively not the best hitter. He's batting under 300 right now. But he's the best in every other category. So therefore, the entire sum of it makes him the best. But he is batting under 300. That's just a fact.
We were talking yesterday with Coach James Young from Sports.
My guy. I'm in studio with him every Saturday.
I am obsessed with him. He even sent us some WNBA plays, which I'm going to play out for the audience once my guests are done. But we're talking about Caitlin Clark and how, as the Indiana Fever continue to lose, proving how much the MVP is Caitlin Clark, because she turns this team around. And I think that a player who does, and that's actually why I would argue against Ohtani, because the Dodgers, with or without Ohtani, are still a great team. They're just better with Ohtani.
It comes down to, like, what argument you're trying to tell yourself. Like, we could tell ourselves that Caitlin Clark is massively important, but at a certain point, the writers may never vote for her just because the stats aren't there. And Aja Wilsh and Nafisha Collier are always going to have the best stats, and they're also on great teams. And if you have a player who's on a team that's what are they 3-4 right now? Yeah, she's important, but you don't play half the season.
Like, poor SGA has been averaging 30 points a game for the last few seasons, but his team's always sucked. So he never won until this year. Like, listen, I think you're a valuable player when you're on the winning team. Regular season, very different for MVP. When we're talking about the Stanley Cup Finals, the NBA Finals, the NFL in the Super Bowl, World Series, it typically goes outside of the Stanley Cup. It typically goes to the winning team.
Listen, take it up with the writers, not with me.
I know, but you gamble, and we have to argue about it. Tom Vecchio, what are you up to these days? Where can everyone find you?
On Sports Grid all the time. I have another show later at 7. But you can find me on Twitter at Tom_Vecchio and the number 1. Tomorrow, normal stuff in studio. Saturdays, Sunday morning, I do a baseball show, 10 to 12, going through every single game on the slate.
Absolutely love it. Tom Vecchio, thank you as always for coming on. Good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me.
My next guest, I am waiting on her, Pam Maldonado, going to join the show. And while we wait for Pam, I might as well at this point, since we're talking WNBA a little bit, Coach James Young was so nice and asked if I had any WNBA guests coming on today. And I said, not really, we're not really talking about WNBA. He's like, I know that your listeners really want WNBA picks. So here we go. Coach James Young sent in some WNBA action.
It's time for your WNBA scouting report. Here are my favorite plays in the W tonight. Play number 1, Nafisha Collier, double-double. Double-double in 5 straight games, including one versus Seattle. Expect a close game, so the minutes should be there. And she's got to keep Awumage and Medgaber off the boards. Give me Nafisha Collier, big feast, with a double-double. Play number 2, Satu Sabli, over 21.5 points. Averaging 20.5 this year, 20-plus in 5 out of 9 games. Dallas is number 11 in defensive efficiency, and Alyssa Thomas returns. That's the key, because she is the table setter. Give me Satu Sabali over 21.5 points. Play number 3. Asia Wilson over 6.5 points in the first quarter, averaging 6.4 points per quarter in the first quarter this year, 7 in wins, and 10 points already versus the Sparks. They can't check her. She goes up early. Vegas should be in a bad mood. Give me Asia Wilson over 6.5 points in the first. This has been your WNBA scouting report. I'll see you later, only on Sports Grid.
He's the best. thank you to Coach James Young for sending us in that WNBA scouting report. So we've got our WNBA plays ready to go for tonight. And you guys should definitely check out Coach James Young on all the Sports Grid platforms. He is awesome. It's funny, he sent me a video earlier of him like on a basketball court. I'm like, of course this dude is like playing basketball right now. I don't know where Pam is, so I'm going to text her right now and say, where ya at? So while we wait for Pam, I did want to talk about, let's see, I have propaganda for today. I don't want to dive too deep into something for Pam to then pop in. So I'm adding now some of these props. You guys know Pam Maldonado, she works for the golf channel, she works for the tennis channel. She said, oh, Twitter was freezing. I had to restart my computer to see if that helps. Uh-oh, we're having tech issues. So I'm going to dive in then to, I guess I could do some NBA props. These are the NBA props. I know I mentioned 3 of these yesterday. So we've got game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. They are in Indiana. Alex Caruso, under 9.5 points. We're talking about a player averaging 8 points a game on the road in the playoffs this year. At home, Caruso's averaging 10.5 points a game. Caruso went under 9.5 points in 2 of the 3 first road games that OKC played this year. So, like, if they went on the road in, like, a game 3, or, like, if they were on, like, Alex Caruso went under this in 2 of 3, and the one he went over, he had 10 points. I just like, and I did this with Obi Toppin. When you see that there's a good sell high situation, yeah, like game 3s, game 4s. I have it in the newsletter, but every time that Alex Caruso played the first game on the road, he did not he was not producing, but he doesn't produce as much on the road anyway, Alex Caruso. I was going to say something. Oh, so like Obi Toppin. When I was doing this with Obi Toppin, he had a really good game 1. And I said, he's really not this consistent of a player. And he's up against good defense. We're going to fight him. Alex Caruso, same thing. He's not a consistent player. They're on the road. He's averaging 2.5 less points per game on the road. And if he just put up over 9.5 points in the first 2 games of this series, having pretty good offensive numbers, don't you think it's a little fishy that his number is 9.5? Just saying. SGA prop currently at 34.5 FYI. Yeah, that went up. It was 33.5. Now 34.5. Listen, I don't know if I have the balls to bet the under 33.5 points, but I'm just saying. This, like, SGA is awesome. And I just don't like that he's averaging like 31 points a game on the road, 33 points a game at home. I don't like, oh, Pam's email isn't really. What's your email? Sorry, I have to email Pam the link to the show because she said Twitter isn't working. I could also just send it to her via text message. See, this is when having a producer is super helpful. This is the link to, if that works for Eric. We'll see if Pam can get on. Sorry, guys. Just technical difficulties. So yeah, so SGA, when you, okay, maybe I don't waste my time because I don't know if people are going to like care, but I think Jessica Brand and I were talking about this, or I was talking to somebody on it, but SGA, like in game 3s has struggled. So I would say to fade SGA for 3 to 3.5. I'll get to the other 2. She's still setting up. Okay. I can get to the other 2 if she's ready. Thumbs up if you're ready, Pam. Okay. I'll get to the other 2 props now because my guest is here. And she's not just a guest. She's one of my closest friends who I haven't gotten the chance to really see lately because I'm poor and don't have money. And I just I make some money off gambling, but that's for Marley and her food because now she needs to survive. So anyway, I'm going to make sure to try to see her soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to bring on one of my greatest friends who is also one of the best at handicapping golf and tennis. And Sean Michael, we give you the kudos for me asking her to come on the show today, Pamela Maldonado.
I love that introduction. And can we start a FundMe page so Ariel can come to Austin? Because she actually told me, she messaged me like in December, Pam, let's have an actual story. She called me drunk at like midnight and was like, I'm going to Austin. And then a month later, she's like, oh yeah, never mind. I'm not doing that.
I was like, do not ever trust me when I make drunk plans. They don't work out.
One day. I don't think you would survive in the heat that's 100 degrees anyway.
No, I want to come in the fall. We have to go to a football game. I have to go to see your Texas people, your Longhorns.
What is this?
This is a New Yorker trying to be a Southerner. See, I'm wearing my Derek Jeter shirt today because I'm such a New Yorker. Sergio says, hope see Pam many times during the grass season. They love you.
Yes.
Look at you matching.
I love grass season. Grass season, as you know, like I am a bit.
Just play season.
I hate clay. I hate clay. Me and clay are like in a toxic relationship. Me and grass, that is an actual love story. So.
When's Wimbledon again?
Wimbledon's at the end of July.
Okay, so we'll definitely have you on for that because I did totally swing and miss on not having you on for the French Open. It's fine though. Did I tell you that I was when I got Marley because she didn't like the crate for she still doesn't, but she's being good right now, knock wood. But Marley had me up at like 5 a.m. every morning, and I realized the French Open's on. And I would watch the French Open every morning while I was up with Marley at 5:30 a.m. So I'm kind of missing it. It was great.
So funny thing about that too is like you got a dog, and yesterday scrolling through Instagram, doom scroll, and a dog popped up on my feed. I was like, do I have to get a dog too? And it's super cute, and I don't know, I kind of fell in love with it. I've never had that reaction to seeing a puppy, so maybe.
Oh my, wait, this is so nice. So David Banks said Pam not only gives out winners, she gives out solid life advice too. She will encourage to go see a movie or concert alone. Don't wait for someone to invite you if you just want to go.
Also, thank you to everyone, because I tend to ask Twitter things like, hey, should I do this? Should I do that? I like to get people's input. And if it wasn't for me asking Twitter last year, there's a concert that I really wanted to go to. And I was like, all of my friends are unavailable. It was like wedding season, all the things, and they were busy. So I was like, okay, do I miss it? And then so I was like, ask Twitter. I was like, have you ever gone by yourself? And when I went, it was weird AF. And then I was like so glad that I did, because you end up talking to like everybody around you. So then I've gone to concerts multiple times since. And again, I went ahead and asked just last week. I've never been to a movie by myself, but I know that it's very common for like the male species, not so much for the women, I think. And so I was like a little hesitant to do it. And again, I felt weird AF. But then at the end of it, I was like, nobody even knows I'm here. This is a great movie. I should do this more often.
What you should also do more often is trust yourself, which is what you've done your entire career. Before we even get to the US Open, you land at ESPN. You always said, I know that golf and tennis are going to be what helps me get my big break. It ended up happening. It wasn't a conventional way, though. How did you land at ESPN?
Unconventional as you can get. And it all started because I moved to Vegas in 2012, after online poker ceased to exist in 2011. And my ex was a professional poker player. We were living in San Antonio, Texas. And he's like, well, I can't play online. I got to move to Vegas. Do you want to move? Okay. And so I was like, well, if you're going to be a professional poker player, I'll be in the poker media. Having zero experience, but I knew poker like I know golf. And so I reached out to one company. I worked with them for 8 years, but all the while, what is right next to the poker room? The sports book. What's the second thing that I know most if it's not poker? It was college football, especially the Big 12, especially Longhorns. So I was talking football all the time on the poker table. I got into sports betting as a hobby. And because I was so consumed with poker, I was doing what I'm doing now, giving analysis onto Twitter. I had my followers were professional poker players. We're talking like bigger names who I've seen their receipts, and yeah, they're doing like 100K, 10K, 20K on some of the stuff I was doing. Built a little reputation. So when I decided to leave the industry, there was a sports betting company in Canada called oddshark.com that reached out and was like, hey, join our team. Okay. So I was with them for a couple of years, and then got into Yahoo Sports, and then moved into ESPN. But all of it stemmed from my time in poker, because Yahoo was a subset of people that I met through the poker space years before. ESPN, same thing. Somebody that I met in 2014 who's been following my work since, and here we are.
That's it's what I love about this industry, is just being able to know And by the way, trailblazer, Daniel said, being able to meet all these people and you just never know who's going to be the one to give you the big break. And typically it's not the person you think it's going to be. And that's exactly what happened to you.
Well, actually, somebody just asked me, this is literally just happened last week, and they're like, so when you meet people, are you like doing it with the intention? No, what? Who does that? I think the problem with nowadays is that people tend to do a lot of like, what is transactional? What can you do for me? We're not, no, I genuinely meet people. And especially when you were in poker, you're seeing the same, it's a very small world in poker. So you're seeing the same people over and over and over, especially during the WSOP when you're working 15-hour days for 3 months, for up to 2 months, and then long hours until the 5, 6 a.m. because of the main event. So you actually got to know a lot of the people on the floor who did the ESPN production and a lot of people in the media space. So these were people that became genuine connections. And here we are, go figure, 10 years that one of them had an opportunity.
Earl said, I used to work for Poker News too.
Hey,
so,
yeah, I was
so
a
many
poker news
people,
for 8 years.
which is how Pam and I ended up meeting through people too. And that's another story for another day because Pam and I were not friends at first, but now we are. And it's a very long story that we don't have time for because people want picks and we're going to give it to them for the US Open. First, before we get to your plays, what should people know about this course?
It is hard AF. It's every bit as hard as they're showing it to be on social media. The rough is exceptionally thick and it's long. And what's most interesting is the greens. They're running like marbles. Basically, you can just drop a ball and it's going to roll for miles. So what that means is you're basically looking for players who have exceptional ball striking skills. I'm talking about laser sharp accuracy, elite with their mid to long irons, because some of these holes, like there's a par 3, you need to bring out your driver. So you need to be on target with your shots. And if you have any bit of pace with control with a putter, that would definitely help. But I think that the greens are going to be so difficult for everybody that I'm mostly focusing on ball strikers.
So I was looking at, I always love seeing what people tweet about, like, oh, the most bet on golfers. So these are the most bet on players to win the US Open, according to DraftKings. Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Ludwig Aberg. Like all these guys, of course, make a lot of sense. Who would you say you're not so high on? Fading the public.
I want to go ahead and fade John Rahm. And I actually wrote why I was at first glance, I was all over him for a top 10 for to possibly win outright. But I feel like when you watch, looking at the data is one thing, but when you watch the sport, whether it's tennis, football, anything, especially golf, you actually get a read on like people's body language, kind of where their head's at. And I feel like Rahm is kind of like he's about to burst. And I don't feel like you see Scotty and he's so smooth, and granted everything's going his way, but there's not, if he has, he misses a hit, it doesn't really affect him emotionally. Rahm is kind of in the other way where I feel like one bad shot and he's just going to like downward spiral. And I feel like he has a lot of top 10s on live. That's great. That still doesn't equate to how you're going to do in a major at the hardest course, probably on tour for the year, in a much deeper field. So I feel like a lot of pressure is on him. And for a top 10, you're barely getting plus money. It was plus 130 for him to finish in the top 10. That was not enough value for me. So I feel like he can definitely finish in the top 20. I would be surprised if he actually came out with the win. I just don't feel like the data is necessarily correlating to what you see when he's on the course.
This is what you do think can happen. So we'll start with Colin Morikawa, top 20 finish, plus 110. Why?
I love Morikawa, and I actually put him in my one and done this week. So if you're talking about precision, check mark. If you have the discipline, check. Ball striking, it's definitely elite. And Oakmont plays like a calculus exam, and Morikawa's got the formula for it. You want somebody who's composed, who's laser sharp with their irons, and quietly consistent this year in 2025. He has 8 top 20s in 11 starts. So if his short game holds, and we know what Morikawa is capable of doing when the putter decides to show up, he wins tournaments. So I feel like his ball striking alone is going to keep him in contention. So I like him for a top 20. You're getting plus money, and that's no ties.
You've also got a couple more top 20. Yeah, you've got a couple more top 20s. And do you just like sprinkle a unit on all of these and hope you cash like 2 of 3? How does that work?
When I'm doing top 20 wagers, everything is a 1-unit play. If I start doing top 10, top 5, first round leader, outrights, all of those are based off percentages, and those change based off of how many players I'm betting for the week. So sometimes I only have 2 players. Sometimes I have like a larger card of like 5, 6, 7 plays. So I really allocate based off of what my total budget is for the tournament, and then I decide from there. But all top 20s are 1 units.
Daniel said I'm looking at Connors too. Spill the tea, Pam.
I love Corey Connors, and he burned us last week as a bettor because we backed him for the top 20 market and he finished T27, but his ball striking was absolutely there and dialed in. His problem was that he lost 5 strokes. He was bottom 3. He was the second worst player last week in the field after round 1 for his putter. Now that's some regression, absolutely. But everything else, he's so steady Eddie. He's top 10 in ball striking, 11th in accuracy. The skill sets that Connors has, tailor made for Oakmont. Hit fairways, hit your irons, get close to the green. If he can get close to the pin, so if he can do that, stay with that, then I think he definitely is the player that's going to like plod along. You're not going to see him do fireworks, but he's going to stay steady across 4 rounds. I trust him for a top 20 finish line.
Same thing for Keegan Bradley, top 20. Good value there, plus 260.
I don't know why this is 260. I don't know why he's like 1,000,000 to 1 to win the tournament. I have somehow convinced myself that Captain Keegan Bradley is winning. He's going to be better than Scotty Scheffler. He's going to be better than Rahm and Bryson and all the people, and he's going to come out with the win and shock the world. And would anybody actually be surprised? They shouldn't be, because Keegan is a tee to green monster. He's second in the field from tee to green behind Scotty Scheffler. And he's coming in with like the most elite form that you could ask for, coming into a difficult AF course. And that's back-to-back top 10s at the PGA Championship, at Memorial. That is peak form. His ball striking, A+. Why his odds are so long? Absolutely terrible with the putter. I'm talking like dog garbage. It is awful. But if he holds serve, then that plus 260 for a top 20 is a steal. What I love even more is top 20 after round 1, because he comes out, he has the ability coming in with the fireworks that he has from back-to-back top 10s to come in with a hot. He's getting an early round, an early tee time, which means that the greens are going to be a lot more receptive for him. He's trending way up heading into Oakmont. Just seriously, keep a neutral putter and he can definitely hit the mark.
Earl asked, is this one of those winner other than Scotty tournaments, before we get to how you're betting Scotty?
I actually don't think so. I think every tournament, yes, that's a market that I want to look at where you leave Scotty off the board. But I feel like this course can offer so much volatility. It is really, truly difficult. The rough really is thick. The greens really are fast. The fairways are really narrow, that we should have some volatility up at the top of the board. So I know that there's an urgency to want to take Scotty out of the equation. I would say if there's any one tournament to not do that, bet straight. Keep him on the board, and then really go for the long shots here.
And you're going top 10, round 1 at plus 150, which seems like decent values for someone like Scotty to get anything plus money. And then Scotty Scheffler, top 5, minus 140. Why?
Scheffler is absolutely, God, he is a robot. He is a robot. And he's one of those players that starts really, really hot. And that's not something that's a fluke. He does that actually every tournament. He's third on tour in round 1 scoring. And if you look at his strokes gained data separated by round 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of his best metrics are in the first round. And what does he do the rest of the time? Hold steady. He stays calm. He stays composed, and he just kind of cruises the rest of the way. So for him to finish in the top 10 at plus 150, this is actually a market that has not changed. It is the same odds offered every single tournament, and it cashes. That's what betting is. You're looking for a mispriced in the market, and that they're giving you a misprice. This definitely should be a little bit on the more even side. And for a sprinkle, I would probably do Scheffler at plus 1,200 for first round leader, because he's one of those players that's live early or never. And if he doesn't pop on Thursday, a live betting tip is he's first in second round scoring. So that's an opportunity for him to finish in the top 5 in the second round lowest score. That's something that I would be looking at. And top 5 at minus 140, I know that is a heavy, heavy juice, but he has 22 top 5s and 31 starts. Come on. Mathematically, it's right there on the edge of what you should be teetering with. But Scotty Scheffler is just one of those players where he has 31 starts, 10 of those wins, and the rest of them are in the top 5. That's just something that you take. It's math. Simple math.
Shawn Michaels says he bet Rory to miss the cut. Cook him.
Absolutely. Ever since he won the Masters, he's kind of been falling off a rock. Like, what do you expect from him to do? Like, he had literally the weight of the world lifted off of his shoulders to win the Masters, and he did it in the most absurd fashion, trying to lose every which way possible, and he won. And then we've seen his game completely fall off since. The driver's not there because, of course, they didn't have it. He didn't have it at the tournaments to follow. Apparently, he has it back, but then he said that he needed birdie in order to shoot an 81 in the practice round. Like, I just don't think his head, his heart, or the data is there to back him up. And Oakmont is an extremely difficult course. This is not a bounce back tournament for Rory.
Pamela Maldonado, thank you so much, as always, for coming on and giving us your wealth of knowledge. What are you up to these days? I know you've got a lot of exciting things cooking up. Where can people find you?
On Twitter, Pamela M35. All my stuff is there. You can hear me talk about life and dating. I'm starting to do that more. Talking about my stuff that happens in the real world. And then my Instagram is definitely a lot more like lifting and golf stuff. That's all I'm doing is bodybuilding and then on the golf course. And that's Pamela.Maldonado 35.
Are you ready to tell people what you're doing? It's exciting next week or not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. She's doing
But
something really
cool is
exciting.
happening. I'm pretty
Something
sure.
really cool is happening. So make sure to check her out next week when she tells you, because I'm really excited. She's gotten so many cool opportunities lately. And I'm not going to take the credit, but I think ever since she met me, her life got extremely better. But
I will give credit to both Kelly in Vegas and Ariel when they said, you are getting an iPhone or we are not going to be your friends anymore. And ever since then, it was strokes gained.
Your life got better. Your life got better ever since.
My life got infinitely better when I switched from an Android to an iPhone. Go figure.
And now your life is where it's at on ESPN. You do stuff with tennis. You do stuff with golf. We are so excited to always be one of your closest friends. Pam Maldonado, good luck this week. I'll talk to you probably in 5 minutes.
Good luck, guys.
Okay, my turn. It is time to talk some best bets. I already had some NBA props that I was talking about, so I'll pick these up. Again, Alex Caruso, under 9.5 points tonight. He's a very fluky player who averages 8 points a game in the playoffs on the road, but 10.5 points a game at home. He has gone over 9.5 already in both games of this series. So why is this number at 9.5? Fishy, fishy. Caruso has not really done well under in 2 of 3 games in the first road game for OKC in the playoffs in each series. So I'm going to take the under. Tyrese Halliburton, I'm kind of leaning over 17.5 points. I'm a little worried about his leg. However, Hallie says he has to be more aggressive offensively. He's averaging 3 more points a game at home this year than on the road. I always fade him on the road, but Halliburton at home becomes a very different animal. And in the game 3s, so like OKC's first game when they are on the road as a defense, they tend to struggle a little bit more. I do want to get their numbers up. I was looking at, Anthony Edwards had 30 points, Scottie Pippen Jr. had 28, and Jamal Murray had 27. All of those were in game 3s up against Oklahoma City. So I would definitely keep an eye on a guard, like the Indiana Pacers guard, Tyrese Halliburton tonight. Miles Turner over 5.5 rebounds. I know it lost in game 2. I'm more confident, though, in game 3. Look at the game 3s. Zach Edey, 7 rebounds. Nikola Jokic, 16 rebounds. Rudy Gobert, 7 rebounds. They all went over in game 3 against OKC. It's a new floor like game 1. First time on the floor in the NBA Finals. Missed shots, fast pace, should lead to a lot of rebounds. So I'm going to take Miles Turner over 5.5 boards. And then I already touched on SGA. I, again, probably don't have the balls to bet the under, but I just think this number is too high. It's up to 34.5 now. For SGA on the road, he in game 3, in the first game in a new arena in each round, has tend to go under 33.5 points. Not to say he's had bad performances, but not the SGA normal performances that we're used to seeing. He also averages 2 to 3 less points a game on the road. So why are we getting the same points prop for a player home and road when he's averaging less points a game on the road? I'm just saying from a perspective of numbers, this number on SGA, 34.5, 33.5, is too high. Marley is hitting her threshold. She's so good for 55 minutes. This was the longest we've ever gone. I do have a little bit of propaganda. These are the most props in the NBA Finals. Game 3 tonight, SGA first field goal. SGA under 34.5 points, so shoot me. TJ McConnell under 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Thomas Bryant under 1.5 rebounds, and Pascal Siakam over 19.5 points. So if you want to be on the opposite side of the public, that is the public side right there on BetMGM. These are the 2 strikeout props that I was looking at for tonight's slate. I gave out 2 more for the earlier slate today on the PropQueen.com newsletter. Walker Buehler under 4.5 strikeouts. He's gone under this in 2 of 3 starts against low K rate lineups. St. Louis, he had 4, Toronto 7, Tampa 3. I am a little worried because Buehler went under this the first time that he faced the Rays with 3 strikeouts in 5 innings, and that game was in Tampa. Now this one's at home, so I'm a little worried at home. But righties, 28 unders, 17 overs, averaging just over 4 strikeouts a game against the Rays. Clark Schmidt under 4.5 strikeouts. I find this to be good value. Schmidt's faced 3 low K rate lineups this season. He's gone under in 2 of 3, but all those games were at home. So now Schmidt's on the road in Kansas City. Righty starters, 31 unders, 22 overs against KC, averaging 3.8 strikeouts a game. In fact, 8 of the last 10 righties to start against the Royals went under 4.5 strikeouts. So Clark Schmidt under 4.5 Ks stands out to me. Some good matchups for some batters tonight. Ryan O'Hearn against Casey Mize has 2 homers, hitting .545. Josh Bell has a home run, hitting .313 against David Peterson. Francisco Lindor, he's got a double and a homer against Jake Irvin. Aaron Judge, surprise, surprise, has great numbers against the lefty, Chris Bubich, who's 5 of 8 with the double and home run. Mike Yastrzemski hitting .429 with 2 doubles, a triple, and a homer. They are in Colorado tonight against Kyle Freeland. So if you like any of these, remember they're in Colorado, so better chance for offense. Tyler Fitzgerald hitting .600, small sample size, but a double, 2 homers against Freeland, again, in Colorado. Rafi Devers, he's 3 of 10 with a home run against Littell, and Jarren Duran, .333 with 3 doubles and a homer against Littell. 2 unders tonight you could look at. Pete Alonso, 1 for 13 with 5 Ks against Jake Irvin, and Willie Adames, 2 for 16 with 5 Ks in Colorado against Kyle Freeland. Let me save my dog. It is time for Royal Lux. Out of everything I told you today, these are the 2 I like the most. Alex Caruso under 9.5 points. Caruso's road numbers, he's averaging 8 points a game on the road in the playoffs. At home, 10.5. He put up 11 and 20 in the first 2 games of the finals at home. So here are Caruso's numbers in the first road games. 10 at Memphis, 7 at Denver, 3 at Minnesota. Great sell high spot for Caruso tonight. For Clark Schmidt, going to take his under 4.5 Ks. I really just like the value here at plus 102. He's gone under this in 2 of 3 against low K rate lineups, and all 3 of those were at home. With 31 unders and 22 overs against Kansas City, averaging 3.8 strikeouts a game. 8 of the last 10 righties gone under 4.5 strikeouts against the Royals. I'm going to back the trend and take the under on Clark Schmidt tonight, 4.5 Ks in plus money. That's it for me, the prop queen, Ariel Epstein. Show times are changing the next 2 days because tomorrow my brother is going to prom, so I need to make the show earlier. And yes, I have a brother 13 years younger than me, so he's going to prom. So I am going to have the show tomorrow from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Same for Friday, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. I actually got invited to a concert to sit second row, so I have to go and sit VIP, like duh. So 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time, Thursday and Friday this week. So make sure to check it out. I will definitely tweet it on the show, about the show tomorrow. Okay, Marley's distracting me again. Love you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully we gave you some more winners than we did last night. And please don't be a troll and don't call me honey or boo-boo. If you missed what I'm talking about, go to the YouTube page at Prop Queen Sports, and you could see the beginning of the show for why I really started off pissed off. But you guys all make me happier. So thank you for cheering up my day. See you tomorrow at 12 p.m.